Well, welcome everybody. This is Undisputed with Clay and Brenton, where pretty much anything we say could maybe be disputed. NASCAR talk show, and over the weekend we had a fantastic race. We had the All-Star race, and this week we have the Coca-Cola 600. So let's backtrack real fast, cover the All-Star race. Clay, give us a rundown. What was it? How was it? It looked fantastic.
Well, first of all, yeah, it was fantastic. It's what I've been looking for in NASCAR for quite a while now. It's what I've always remembered with NASCAR. And I'm like, yes, it's finally back. First of all, just playing good racing and a diverse group of drivers. The Open was a really fun race to watch, Anytime you have Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson and William Byron all fighting for the win, it's different, it's fun, it adds a different level of excitement to the race that we don't typically see week in and week out. So that was fun. It seemed like pretty much every stage finish was side by side, which was fun. A lot of beating and banging, and just what NASCAR is supposed to be. So that was fun, and that theme just carried over into the All-Star race itself. Kyle Larson reminded me very much of Casey Kane back in, I don't remember, it was 2008 or 2009. I believe it was 2009 when he won the fan vote for the All-Star race. Went into the All-Star race, turned around and won the race. Kyle Larson kind of, even though he didn't win the fan vote, he raced his way in and went on and won the All-Star race. So it was kind of like deja vu, fun to see him race so hard and come away with the $1 million, which that's what we want to see. We want to see these guys have to work for it and be rewarded for it as well. But this race pretty much had everything, lots of side-by-side action, a lot of beating and banging on the cars and in person. Clint Boyer and Ryan Newman had
I saw that
scuffle after the race, which I see NASCAR didn't penalize them for it, which, kudos to NASCAR, because my biggest thing ever since we've been doing this show is we need more fights. We need more emotion in the sport. These drivers are too content with finishing second, third, fourth. They need to, work hard to get that win. So, again, this weekend was everything that I've been wanting to see out of NASCAR. And, I saw an article earlier this week by I believe it's one of the NASCAR.com writers, and he said the All-Star race, excitement or, positive reaction to the All-Star race just furthers the point that NASCAR events need to be shorter. All-Star race was under 100 laps, and even though it was broken up in stages, it really just wasn't that long, and it pushed those drivers and pushed those teams to get the job done sooner, which meant harder racing, better racing, and more importantly, some emotions that got a little out of hand, like Ryan and Clint Boyer. Tempers flared, and it did not give people like Keselowski and Logano, Chase Elliott even has been doing well, even though I love Chase Elliott. It didn't give those guys a lot of time to perfect their cars. It gave the guys that came into the race prepared the opportunity to come in there and win. And as you saw in the Open, Kyle Larson and his team, they were tuned up and ready to go all night.
Yeah.
And it showed because he took his car right to victory lane. And to me, I like the Coke 600, but having a 600-mile race really takes away from the importance of having 3 practice sessions, qualifying, and basically the first 500 miles. Because, if you have a couple cautions or maybe even a couple long green flag runs in the last 100, 150 miles of the race, you have time to get your car good again. And as long as you can make you have somebody like Paul Wolf or Cole Pern sitting on top of your pit box, as long as you have somebody that smart in there that can change with the race, all you need to do is be good for the last 100 miles.
Yeah.
And you can go from 10th to 1st if you play your cards right and you've got a good car. So it really just makes the first 500 miles pointless. And that's what I love about the All-Star race is that you need to practice, you need to qualify well. And when the green flag drops, you race your heart out until checkered flag. And if some of these NASCAR races were shorter, I think we'd see that happen a lot more. And I'm a large advocate of a shorter NASCAR race. Football games are the same 4 quarters every week. Baseball games, I think could be 5 innings as opposed to 9. And a NASCAR race should be 100 to 150 laps, depending on the size of the track.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a good assessment. And that brings up so many different things. But with the shorter track, or with the shorter length this week, and Larson winning, that is, huge momentum. So did he make your hot list this week? Who's on your hot list? Who's on your not hot list?
He did. Kyle Larson is definitely on my hot list this week. And Bubba Wallace is another one on the hot list, which I know I'm stealing that one from you because you like Bubba. But yeah, somebody that was on my not hot list, particularly coming away from Kansas, where he basically stole the show. Brad Keselowski, he really wasn't relevant Saturday night. I believe he finished 10th or 11th, mid-pack. It was just kind of like an night.
Sure.
And then Alex Bowman found his way into the race, I believe, with the fan vote. And to be honest with you, I was a little disappointed with his performance, particularly after the last 3 weeks. So Keselowski and Bowman, ironically, were 1 and 2 last week, and now they're 1 and 2 on the not hot list.
There you go. Yeah. No, I know they didn't perform very well at all. I had exactly the same 2 on my hot list. I had Larson and Bubba Wallace. And I had also penciled in Daniel Suarez, mostly because he would have done it if Bubba Wallace hadn't done, the beating and banging that he did. So right. That was he had quite an impressive run out of Suarez. It's kind of interesting to see the second-tiered kind of guys put on such a great show in the Open. They really raced their butts off.
Mm-hmm.
My not hot list, then, I actually this is sad to me that I put this name on the list. I put Eric Almirola as not hot. He was locked in, and I just don't think he was really there. Yeah, so I would also kind of almost put Jimmy Johnson in there. I think he finished 5th, maybe. I don't remember, but it's still not the best. Yeah, so
Jimmy was a ways back. He was lower than 10th, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those 2 guys were kind of disappointing to me.
Yeah. Who was not disappointing this week and who was on Clay's happy list? Ryan Newman and Clint Boyer.
Yep.
Really don't care for either one of them. I think they're both a lot of hot air and kind of just, annoying people in general.
Sure.
But kudos for making the sport fun.
Yep. They got tons of highlight. I mean, honestly, I don't think any topic from the All-Star race was, the media day was a frenzy. You had the fight, you had Kyle Larson getting in, you had Bubba Wallace making the show. That was a huge story. So many reporters had so many things to talk about. I think everything got spread apart equally. I think we'll be riding this for quite a while. So.
Right. And, Clint Boyer is one of those guys that I really want to like because he's so funny and so spirited, but his driving just doesn't back his attitude up. And I just find it super annoying that he's, he gets so irritated and aggravated with people, but he's just really not that good. I know Kyle Busch irritates a lot of fans because of his body mouth and, poor loser attitude. But, the man backs it up with blowing the pants off of the competition the next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's literally one of the best drivers I've ever seen. I mean, he is there with Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, Richard Petty, all those guys. He is top-notch, top-tier racer. And honestly, if he wants to be PO'd after a race, he's got a right to be, because he set a standard that nobody can live up to, and sometimes he falls below it, and he's probably his own worst critic about it. And to me, that's the sign of a top level racer, and one of the things I respect the most about him.
I completely agree.
It's not that he's just being a baby; it's that he's passionate.
Yeah. Yep. So, moving on to top level drivers, who has made your rundown for this week for the Coke 600? Who do you got for your pole, stage 1, 2, winner, and long shot?
Somebody that's really been impressing me in qualifying sessions is William Byron. Him and Chad can't put together a race, but they're really good in qualifying. So William Byron's on top of my pole list for this week. He's there every week, and he really seems to shine on big races like the 500, and I think he'll find himself on the front row of the 600 as well. But unfortunately, he won't stay there long. And Mr. Wonderful Kyle Busch will be back. I see him taking stage 1. And for stage 2, Hendrick always seems to make a presence in the later parts of the race. I see Chase Elliott taking stage 2. And going back to my theme of 2008 or 2009, again, I cannot for the life of me remember what year it was when Casey Kane won the All-Star race. What did he do the next week?
He won the Coke 600.
He won the Coke 600.
Yep.
What's Kyle Larson going to do this week?
He's going to win the Coke 600.
Kyle Larson's going to win the Coke 600. Kyle Larson's got a fire under his butt, and he is going to take it all the way to the bank at the end of the Coke 600. But, when we come to Lowe's Motor Speedway, who's the one guy that you never want to bet against?
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy.
Yep.
Jimmy has to be on my long shot for this week. So
that's a fantastic pick. We actually have really similar logic in the ending portion. So I picked for pole. I picked Harvick. The Fords seem to be doing okay at that. I mean, Boyer got it. Harvick got it in Kansas. I mean, they seem to do okay in qualifying, but I don't really see him sticking around. I do see Hendrick popping up. Stage 1, I've got Bowman, because I think Bowman could probably muscle his way in there if he can stay up in the top. Mm-hmm. I didn't pick any Toyotas, surprisingly, this week. I did pick... I went with the whole stage 2 winner being the same, and I went with Larson. I think what is tough, and I'm rethinking it sort of, but I already put it on paper, so I'm sticking with it. My only concern is Larson is a short-term driver. He kicked everybody's butt at the Open because it's a short race. And he did really well at the All-Star race because it's a short race. What will he do for 600 miles? I mean, he has a track record of completely destroying cars. So hopefully that fire will keep the momentum going for him, and he can hang on to it and keep it in the front all night long with no pit stop, penalties, with no errors on the car. And it can just run. He can stay. I think he's going to take stage 2 and win, as we've seen the pattern to be. So my long shot is funny because I totally should have picked Jimmy Johnson. I wanted to because I said how many weeks now I would, but I didn't this week. I didn't. My long shot is Bubba Wallace. Who would have thought I would have said that? So
not me.
Yeah, right. I mean, he finished, I think, somewhere in the upper 10 of the All-Star race. So that's dangerous. Somebody can perform like that, and they've got that kind of momentum. the right place, right time on a race like this. Both drivers on my wing and long shot tend not to keep their cars together in any way, shape, or form. But if they do,
I hope you can put some money down on that because you're gonna lose.
I know. I'm gonna probably lose a bunch, but that's what makes this show fun.
Well, you're absolutely right about Larson. He's a short track, short race type of racer, and that's exactly why I didn't put any evidence of him in pole stage 1 or stage 2. He just won't. He'll be present, but he will not dominate that race.
Yeah,
I guarantee you. But based on trends, what I see the race coming down to is probably like a caution with 50 laps to go or something. And in my mind, I see Chase Elliott coming to the front prior to that caution. Not having a bad pit stop, but just not a good one.
Sure.
And, somebody like Bowman or maybe even Byron or Almirola or one of those guys that are good but not great. Maybe Gambling taking 2 tires, and then Larson and Chase Elliott being the first guys with 4. Larson beats Elliott.
Okay.
Runs off.
Wow, you're going 1-2. Go you.
He's passing all those 2-tire guys, and he's going for it. And
okay.
To me, that's only going to work if the last restart is under 100 laps to go, preferably around 50 to go, just because it seems to be about all Kyle has in the tank. I mean, honestly, if the All-Star race had been 90 laps, Kevin Harvick likely would have won it.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's kind of little things you have to keep in mind, but that's how I see the race going. And if it goes that way, my money's on my man Larson.
Sweet. Well, at least we both have that pick. Well, at least we both have Larson on our picks. So, well, that's Undisputed for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks a lot for watching. We really appreciate it. Sorry this one was not live. We're going to try to work through our technical difficulties for the next one after we recap the Coke 600. But until the next time, we'll see you on the next episode.